So it was your conscious choice to become a geologist?
More or less, yes. About 50 years back, the options were too few. One of the best options, yeah.
How did this journey start?
Not only conscious about saving material, but we were very conscious of the people of the have-nots. Every time we wasted something, my parents would tell me that, look, those small morsels of food on your plate, you're leaving. If they were saved, probably it could feed a hungry mouth. So that kind of an attitude was there in my whole life. You order a meal from a food delivery store and he brings you dangerous black plastic, which is far more dangerous. This endocrine disruptor, they get into the body. So the body gets a signal that estrogen has been released. So a girl gets her period because the artificial estrogen. Where do you get it? From the plastic bottle? The girl gets it from her menstrual pad. The baby gets it from her diaper. The old man gets it from his adult diaper.
Is that the reason for these days young girls, they get matured or they get their... Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode on Sustainably Positive Podcast by Prosperity Homes, India's first and only podcast by a real estate developer that discusses exclusively about sustainability. Today, we have Mr. Ajit Kumar Mahendra, a retired Senior Deputy Director General from Geological Survey of India, who turned into an eco-warrior after his retirement. On his Hyderabad apartment's rooftop, he harvests 5,000 liters of rainwater and converts his kitchen waste into compost. Driven by passion, Mr. Ajit and his wife Shalini fight against plastic pollution by selling eco-friendly bags and sanitary pads. He is a certified counselor, a YouTube educator. He runs a YouTube channel named Bhurakshak and also an author who is enlightening about the hidden toxins in our food and products. Honored by the Indian Medical Association, this 77 years young dynamo proves that retirement is actually a launchpad. And his purpose? Educating the educated on health, environment, and empowered living. So join us as we meet the geologist redefining purpose, Mr. Ajit Kumar Mahendra. Welcome, sir.
My pleasure.
Thank you for allowing us, opening the doors of your house to do this podcast. We are so excited to meet you and hear about you, know from you, gather all your experience. And we do this podcast, as I told you before, we are Prosperity Homes, a real estate developer. So apart from building homes, we also do a lot of sustainability initiatives where we bring awareness to our viewers on everyday sustainability. So I've given your introduction to our viewers, but in your own words, if you could take us through your journey about your background.
You see, I was a nature lover from childhood, probably because of a very encouraging environment at home. My parents and family encouraged me to be and probably I had a fascination for plants. So from a very young age, I started doing gardening. Fortunately, we had a very huge house in Himayatnagar, which was actually a very undeveloped locality in my childhood. I could indulge in my passion with all the gusto. And this love for nature continued, and I still do gardening wherever and in whatever circumstances. My love for nature, that I chose geology as a profession.
Mm-hmm.
So I got totally wedded to nature 24/7 because at home as well as in the office, we were all the time close to nature.
So it was your conscious choice to become a geologist?
More or less, yes.
Okay.
About 50 years back, the options were too few. Okay. So one of the best options, yes.
Okay. Are you originally from Hyderabad?
Yes, the fifth generation. Now my granddaughter is the fifth generation.
Oh, wonderful. I think during your geology also, or during your work tenure, you must have done a lot of environmental activities, or did it happen after your retirement? So
No. The environment is something in my family. At a time when, environment was not a topic at all, either in textbooks or in daily life. I was groomed by parents who insisted on saving water, saving electricity, when there were no shortages.
Mm-hmm.
So we grew up with that. Also we were trained to be on our own. We had to clean the house ourselves, make our own bed. take care of our own clothes. So that kind of a mental framework was part. I'm very fortunate to have been born in such a family. So probably that sowed the seed in me at a very, very young age. And that, strengthened as time went on.
So they were conscious despite being abundant. These days, people are not conscious
In spite of
in
shortage.
spite of shortage. It's very sad. So, how did this journey start? Of course, could you take us through, what have you been doing after your retirement?
I really can't put a date on when I got into it, but it's sort of one thing led to the other. As I said, we were very frugal in our lifestyle, very, very conscious of. There was another thing, not only conscious about saving material, but we were very conscious of the people, of the have-nots. I mean, every time we wasted something, my parents would tell me that, look, those small morsels of food on your plate, you're leaving. If they were saved, probably it could feed a hungry mouth. So that kind of an attitude was there in my whole family. We couldn't leave even small grains in our plate. They would force us to pick them up. And I still do it with my children and grandchildren.
Okay.
So that is how it started. Then, this frugality, this concern for others and the environment, this continued in my profession, in my personal life, and that paid me dividends. So I used to save paper when I was in the office. If one side of the paper was written on, I would use the back side to make my drafts. Even today, my file office copies are all made on one side to print. So that's how it went on. And somewhere post-retirement, plastic became an issue. And we realized that it has started becoming an environmental hazard. I stopped using plastic bags altogether. I would carry my own shopping bags. I would carry my own. As a matter of fact, my mother and sister, even though, those days, if you went to a shop, a grocery store, he would wrap things in a newspaper and give it to you. With a thread. And my mother would save that thread to make garlands or stitch clothes. That was called, Kora Taga. You still get that, where garlands are woven. She used to save that thread. And those newspapers also were saved, small bits of newspaper. And we had to carry our own bags. So my mother used to stitch these old bags using old bed sheets and petticoats and things of that kind.
Oh, interesting.
And see how we are. Have we developed or have we gone backward? Because sustainability was something that was built in our culture in the 1950s. For instance, all our family, the children grew up wearing cloth diapers and cloth rampers made by second-hand clothes.
Right.
My own granddaughter, the diapers were made of old cloth. Okay. We never bought new cloth for the diaper. And look at the science behind it. Old new cloth is rough.
Correct.
So what they would do is, they would usually use a fine ladies' clothes mostly, tailor small rompers for the child, and diapers, homemade diaper. She would not only make for the family, but she would also make for the neighbors, for the maidservants' children, and all that. She would stitch with her hand, and that was something not my mother did alone. Everybody did that because no synthetic material was available. Cloth was mostly tailored. We didn't have much of ready-made garments also, and it was mostly cotton. We started wearing synthetic fabric somewhere in college. And about 90s or so, plastic became an issue. Temporarily, I stopped using plastic and was the butt of many jokes in the family and friends. People hiding their plastic bag whenever they saw me. Uncle aa gaya, bhashan sunna padega. They still do. And to the extent that my maidservant wouldn't, take a plastic bag when she went to buy her grocery. Okay. So one day, my maidservant's grocery wala asked, Auntie, I have so many customers, you're the only person who doesn't take a plastic. He said, the house I work in, the owner, he's a terribly anti-plastic person. So that habit I picked up from him, and I'm following it for the last so many years. This I am talking of it somewhere before 2000. And I think post 2010 or even later, I was reading a lot of things on personality development and psychology and all that. I started shifting my emphasis to environment. And then from environment, I sort of accidentally chanced upon books which talked about the hazards of plastic, not as a long-term environmental issue, as a serious health hazard. It's now common knowledge. Unfortunately, I don't know why the medical fraternity is insensitive to it. The so-called endocrine disruptors. I'll give you a few examples. See your mineral water bottle. Your small mineral water bottle carries about 25,000 microplastics particles. Or a paper cup in which you drink your cup of tea. Same number, maybe 20, 25.
Paper cup also has a coated
Has a
plastic
coating. I
inside.
should demonstrate it to you. Okay.
Not many people know that the
Yes.
plastic cup
Yes.
is the paper cup is sustainable.
Yeah.
They are unaware that it
Yes.
has a plastic coating.
As a matter of, there's no sense in calling it a paper cup.
Right.
I would recommend a small book to you called Plastics, the Threat to Mankind, published by the National Book Trust. Small booklet of hardly 70 pages. He covers the 9 types of plastic. Your so-called mineral water bottle, which you think is the most hygienic thing in the world, is the most dangerous thing. And the so-called BPA, bisphenol A, that it carries, many food packaging carry BPA.
Okay.
And this is an endocrine disruptor. What's an endocrine disruptor? I'll go into a little detail. There is a BPA carries an endocrine disruptor. It's a mimic of the female hormone estrogen. I mean, a little bit of chemistry. The structure of the chemical estrogen and the normal biological estrogen, which we all secrete, men and women both, is the same chemistry-wise. I mean, there might be small differences in the content, but the structure is the same. I mean, people who know organic chemistry would understand what I'm talking about. So what happens is when this goes into your body, right? Now imagine what happens. You're drinking mineral water throughout the day, or 24 hours of the day.
Correct.
Right? You're traveling somewhere and you buy bottle after bottle and you go on consuming. You take cups and cups of tea in a plastic container. You order a meal from a food delivery store and he brings you in a dangerous black plastic, which is far more dangerous. I'll tell you later why. Okay. And you heat it in a microwave, compound the danger, right? Now, what does this endocrine disruptor do? I'm talking of one endocrine disruptor, there's several. This endocrine disruptor, they gets into the body. So the body gets a signal that estrogen has been released. It is not natural estrogen. So what happens? This estrogen, there are receptors where, any hormone that is released goes and sticks to a receptor.
Okay.
It's something like, plugging in a switch. This goes and sticks to the receptor. And this receptor gets a message that, look, the process has begun.
Okay.
So a girl gets her periods because the artificial estrogen. And where do you get it? From the plastic bottle. The girl gets it from her menstrual pad. The baby gets it from her diaper.
Synthetic diapers.
The old man gets it from his adult diaper.
Is that the reason for these days young girls they get matured or they get their
9 years, 8 years.
Right.
I've seen girls only this much height, must be in 3rd, 4th, 5th standard, maturing. And the signs are very peculiar. Look at nature. Nature is very, very precise. Very precise, and it has its own rhythm, everything. You can't meddle with nature. Just can't meddle with nature. Even the minutest. If the process of puberty starts, the process of growth stops. So what happens is the girl becomes short, stays short, because all the resources of the body are now directed towards the process of the girl maturing into puberty. So now this is one issue. There are so many of these endocrine disruptors, not one. I mean, if you pick up any cosmetic, even toothpaste and all that, you will see a lot of names written on it. Phthalate, bisphenol A, fluoride, free.
Correct.
Isn't it? Now, what is that? The contents is fluoride free, the contents is bisphenol free or phthalate free. What about the tube? He doesn't manufacture the tube. He buys the tube from some bulk manufacturer. He doesn't certify about the tube, but the contents stays in the tube.
How do we avoid all of this? Let's say we are traveling. This is very scary. Now, if we are traveling, let's say we go to some long distance, so how do we avoid by buying plastic? So I was talking with someone else also. I said I carry my own steel water bottle, but then they were also saying that it is being dispensed from a mineral water bottle, like a bigger 20-liter bottle, or you can still avoid, but we are still not able to avoid the 20-liter water cans. So how do we find the balance?
See, today what has happened, fortunately, we are a little ahead of the rest of the world in these issues. The amount of voluntary effort that has gone into the environment is something spectacular. I think India is again leading in that sphere. I talked to somebody who had gone to USA recently, and she was saying that you don't see so much of voluntary effort in this domain that you see in India. As a matter of fact, no, you don't have to. Say if you fly, you have those water dispensers at the airport. They're the safest.
Yes.
I would recommend you go to the toilet, pick up that water. No, I wouldn't suggest you. No, the hand wash basins, I think, are safer. Because in case you get an infection, you come to me, I'll treat your stomach infection and give you, you can get back to normal in 3 days. But there is no treatment for cancer. And the story has just begun. I'll give you some more shockers. Everybody is talking. You must have suddenly seen that no country is advertising on family planning.
Correct.
India's population is shooting. But you won't see the family planning logo anywhere.
True.
On government buildings and all that. The reason? Today, India's population is growing at a rate where it is far below the replacement rate. The replacement rate is something like 2.5. I'm quoting from memory, so I may be wrong in the fraction, in the decimal portion. It should be about 2.5. India's India's population growth is at 1.7. So by 1940s or so, your population is going to come down.
2040s, you mean?
Yeah. I'm sorry, 2040.
2040.
The world population. The world population, I think, is somewhere in the vicinity of 8.2 billion. It is going to go up to 8.4 billion and come down to 8.2 in another decade or so. And I've seen videos, stories about Europe has the population is declining. For instance, Italy, I've seen videos about Italy. The situation is there are towns in Italy with no population. Houses are empty, schools are empty, vacant. There's nobody. There's not a single child. There's not a single occupant.
Yeah, I've heard about some cities paying people to come and live there.
Japan, that is the story. In Japan, the story is you can hire a son for a day. You can hire a daughter for a day. Or they have rubber daddies whom they can take for a walk. So probably Asia and Africa are the only two continents where the population growth is positive. But still, I mean, you must have heard about beaching having a decline in population.
True.
So this is a world phenomenon. And what is the cause? When your science has progressed so much, when medicine has progressed so much, you're calling of blue cities where thousands and hundreds of people are amongst my own relatives, 80, 85 is the common age. The number of old people far outshoots the number of young people. On one side, the number of old people is growing, but on the other side, infertility is becoming a worldwide issue. As a matter of fact, I can't tell you the exact source, but WHO is seriously considering declaring infertility as an epidemic.
There are so many infertility centers.
There are so many infertility centers in India, and again, that is part of the story. Infertility carries its own baggage. I know of cases where, children, it's very common to see twins nowadays.
Right.
I was in Toronto in Canada in 2014, and I went to the zoo. I found more twins than single child. I mean, more twins than single children. And I was a little confused. I said, what is something there in the environment or the, something conducive for the growth of... Then I realized another pattern. Most of the women, the mothers, look pretty obese. And they look pretty elderly. And coming back home, when I started sort of looking at things from a scientific outlook, they were all fertility
IVF
children, IVF children. And it is, recently I Google search, I think there is a 1% or 2% chance of abnormal development. I know cases in my own family and friends, abnormal children being born. Mental retardation, I've interviewed doctors, mental retardation, autism spectrum disorder, ADHD, attention deficit, hypersensitivity disorder. The rates are increasing. Say from 40 in autism, it has gone to 44%. And it's all because of chemical.
It's all because.
I won't. Plastic is the major culprit, but there are others with that. Sometimes people warn me that you go on the street and tell people not to use plastic and all that. One day you will get bashed up. I said that I don't really feel bad about it. At 77, I am prepared to go up. Okay. Nothing much is going to happen. I'm rather diplomatic. If I see a young girl drinking water from a plastic bottle, I tell her, better don't drink from a plastic bottle, you'll put on weight. If I see a young boy drinking from plastic water, I ask him, Babu, शादी हो गई क्या? बोले साहब नहीं हुई शादी, करने का इरादा है? बोले हाँ साहब है करने का इरादा, मत करो। क्यों साहब? मैं यार प्लास्टिक से पानी पी के काय को बीवी की जिंदगी खराब करते हो, बच्चे तो होंगे नहीं। That fellow really gets scared. But my experience is rather funny. If I tell the same thing to the doctor, he doesn't listen. That's why educating the educate.
Why is that? I mean, why doesn't a doctor listen?
I have asked this question to several doctors and I have not been able to get a positive reply.
So you mean they're okay to drink from plastic or...
You say, no, there are several sides of the story. I really don't know. You go to any corporate hospital, all the patients are served mineral water. You go to a 5-star hotel, you get water in a glass bottle.
True.
And you go to a hospital, corporate hospital, I've seen several corporate hospitals in Hyderabad, thousands of corporate crates of mineral water are bought there. All medicines are in plastic.
Is it because they believe more in cure than prevention?
It pays. Prevention doesn't pay. Isn't it? On prevention might be made you a loser, but cure does. There are a lot of doctors in my family. I don't really go to another doctor outside. I asked some of my family doctors, and interestingly, they are kidney specialists and endocrinologists and things of that kind. And then, क्या यार तुम लोग जो है पहले कोई भी चीज बोले तो लगता है कि नहीं सब ठीक है. Then your belief is you fall sick and then we'll treat you. Why can't you tell us that you don't do this? Isn't it? I mean, there are, say for example, my wife is a diabetic. How many doctors give you a chart giving you? Yeah, they'll get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And you go for the second visit, either 7 is doubled or 8 is added.
Dose.
Isn't it? Yeah, we are. And again, I don't remember the source. No, I think it's B.M. Hegde's talk somewhere. I believe the world medical budget, 98% of the budget goes for cure, and 2% goes for prevention. And preventive medicine, they think is only, vaccination and things of that kind, or the hygiene. But they're not thinking of these serious issues.
Is there a middle ground between glass and plastic? And glass could be a little impractical considering the vastness of the business that we are in. And
See, let us not see, we are a tropical country. We have so many options. So glass is the best. See, glass has one other advantage. The resource for glass is very readily available. Glass is 99% silica. And India has all the resources of glass to last.
To manufacture enough glass.
Yeah. And it's a recyclable product. So again, there is no shortage of resource. We have got all kinds of mineral resources in this country where the West is starving for most of the resources. We started using them in abundance very recently. The West has already exhausted most of their quality natural resources, particularly the mineral resources. There are a lot of options. Again, I may not be digressing here. Say, for instance, we went for Teflon coating non-stick cookware. But now we are stopped because that's another poison.
Correct.
So we are now migrating to iron.
Cast iron.
500 years, you can comfortably use iron. We have that many resources. High-grade iron ore. India was exporting iron ore to several countries.
True.
And our iron ore is one of the highest grade in the world. We've got huge resources of iron ore, huge resources of limestone. You just don't have to think.
So is there something called food grade plastic? For example, the vegetables we store in the fridge, or maybe some nuts or some pulses that most of the families they store instead of the stainless steel. So there is generally called some BPA free or some food grade, or there are a lot of terminology.
I'm glad you raised this topic. This is another, sleight of hand with the Western world manufacturers play on the masses. There is, at least to my knowledge, there is no such thing as food grade plastic. If somebody argues with me, I say, expensive poison is still a poison, isn't it? Somebody said Tapazere is a good plastic, and
there are so many varieties of.
Yeah, and then you asked me about BPA. You know what the West did? I mean, it's a again, I'll go back a little to the organic chemistry. Organic chemistry, it's very easy to knock off 2 atoms and put 2 other atoms in. Isn't it? You remove phosphorus and put sulfur, or all that meddling you can do. It's a very flexible field. So what the West did was, they removed BPA and started producing BPS.
Okay.
And BPF. So many, alphabets have changed. Now, I'll tell you the economics of it. BPA is being declared as a hazard, right? Now, it took 10 years for the scientific community to declare BPA as an hazard, right? I replaced BPA with BPS, spend a few $1 million advertising that BPS is safe. The manufacturing industry takes 10 years to prove that BPS is harmful, isn't it? I made my dollars. So the best thing is, avoid the father it says. Stop using plastic. Isn't it? And as I said, you have metal. I know capstan boxes, cigarette boxes. A packet of 10 we used to get in a tin box.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was not a smoker then. I'm talking about the 1950s.
At least our generation have not seen it.
Yeah. Metal was very cheap. And face it, metal is recyclable multiple times.
True.
Whereas plastic is recycled only once, and only 7% is the optimum. Only 7% of the plastic is recyclable. And that is the USA figure. India's percentage is far lower. It's somewhere around 4%.
So plastic, only 7% of it can be recycled.
Can be recycled only once.
Most people think, you can keep recycling plastic after use.
And I talked to you about your Swiggy and Zomato, isn't it? That black container which you get is made out of, all black plastic is normally recycled plastic.
Is it?
Most of it.
Okay.
I think all of it. I'm a little on shaky ground. So that's why I'm using the word most of it. Lot of it is made using electronic waste. And electronic waste contains, along with plastic, a bonus is also there. A bonus poison is what is called heavy metals. Cadmium, chromium, nickel, your famous lead. Now, these are, again, very, very toxic at very, very low, concentrations. I'm talking of parts per million.
It's possible they must be recycled because they come at a very cheaper cost, right?
I don't know why, but very often you get food packed in black. The bottom container is black,
Yeah, correct.
isn't it? This is I read recently in some video or some book. I read that black plastic. I knew that black plastic is recycled plastic, but I didn't know that it major component of raw material is coming from the electronic industry.
I think same goes with the milk that is coming in plastic packets. I think back in the day when
I'll give you another side of the story. You're talking of food, right? I'll give you other side of the story. I'm a Bhurakshak, right?
Right.
There are a lot of thousands of Gaurakshaks in India, right?
Yes.
They're protecting cows. I tell you, we are the biggest cow killers in the world. I don't know, people might throw big bats at me. Every time you go to a small stall on the roadside, buy some tea in a parcel, he gives you in a polythene bag.
Correct.
You go and buy idli sambar, he gives you all your sambar and chutneys in plastic bags. What do? You eat that sambar in idli, wherever you are, and you throw away these plastics in the garbage bin. Cow, all stray animals eat that. They love your sambar rasam as much as you do.
They ingest.
They inject and die a very, very painful death. ZTV about a few years ago carried a video. There are a few kilograms of plastic was recovered from a single cow. There are now organizations, I am told, one of the famous sweetmeat shop owners is now devoted his life only to this. There are now organizations of, cow rakshak organizations who are concentrating on removing plastic from
the streets.
From belly of animals. And you know what happens? It chokes inside. So it dies a very miserable, it can't eat. It can't eat. I don't know where it chokes. It might be breathing, but it can't eat. And it goes on eating plastic, it's unaware. Most of your fish, I mean, if you go to a doctor and you say, doctor, I'm a non-vegetarian, he will say, eat white meat. I say, no, don't eat white meat. Eat red meat.
Okay.
And say, yeah, the guy is gone crazy. Let me give you the logic of it. Chicken is fed on estrogen, poultry chicken. These poultry farm animals are not called. There was a beautiful speech by probably a Swedish gentleman somewhere. It became very viral on YouTube a few years ago. He says, why you should become a vegan. The chicken are injected with estrogen. And a lot of antibiotics. Why do antibiotics don't work on us? When we fall sick, that reason. Chicken are fed on estrogen to increase their weight. I did a video on eggs, poultry eggs. The poultry farmer wants a bird to be of 1.5 kgs weight in 6 weeks' time. So he injects them with estrogen and several other things, and antibiotics to prevent him from disease. And that goes into your stomach. And chicken is the most favorite non-vegetarian today, thanks to our fast food,
KFC.
KFC and McDonald's and all that. The same is true of fish. All your water bodies, a lot of fish comes from, bread farms, fish farms. But we also get a lot of what is so-called as wild fish or forest fish, they call it in the Western world. They call it wild salmon or wild tuna. That means it is caught from the rivers. Right. It's not from the fish farms. But even there, you've got so much of plastic in your water bodies that the animal has. I saw a very interesting comic strip. One guy bought a fish from a fish dealer. So he just handed over the fish to him. Then he asked him, why don't you give me a bag? He said, there's one inside the fish. Okay. So there's so much microplastic, and I am not touched the real problem. There is one thing called nanoplastic.
Okay.
Microplastic is something that you can see under a microscope. Nanoplastic is something which can enter your cell membrane. So it can change the structure of your cell.
Is that the reason for higher number of cancer these days?
Cancer straight away, I told you, isn't it? Yes. It literally modifies your whole system at the cell level. And now there is amount, I can quote you, I can even give you the references if you want. I think Science Digest is one article. Australia, they found microplastic in the poo of a newborn child. All the time, science was talking about, medical science was talking about, the placenta of a mother is impenetrable, which has now been proven wrong by their own fraternity. So now it is known that placenta can be penetrated and plastic does. There is another video I saw, which is again a study from Australia. He has again quoted a very authentic article. I can give you the reference if you want. It's again, I think, the source is Science Digest or one of those medical journals. They found multiple, percentages of microplastic in the cerebral lobes.
In the newborns? In the newborns, you're saying?
No, adults also. They found that in the brain, that too the external, they call the outer lobes of the, I'm forgetting that word, I can all check back from my book. The external lobes, which are normally responsible for all you have the lymphatic system, limbic system, and then you have the cortex and the external, which is responsible for logic and all that. Now that they found huge quantity of microplastic, and what is baffling the doctors is the amount of microplastic they found in the brain is multiple times the plastic they found in the kidney and liver.
I see.
Normally, if you take anything which is foreign to your body, which is harmful to your body, it is the kidney and liver which traps it and throws it out. They found it straight in the brain. How did it go there? And what will it do? Is it responsible for your increase of diseases of the other one, the same journal or a similar study? I'm talking of studies, I'm not talking of, YouTube or
some random person.
asking. Where, you can question the source. They found normally when you operate a heart patient, you take out the artery and test what was the plaque. They found microplastic in the artery of cardiac artery of the patient whom they operated upon. Stroke patients, when they removed the blockage and tested the blockage, it contained microplastic. So the person suffered a stroke because of microplastic. Now the time has come for you to ask the medical fraternity what's wrong. Hello, what are you doing? And these are all studies made by reputed organizations, all supported by very strong scientific evidence, published in peer-reviewed international journals. I used to run a small homeopathy dispensary with one of my colleagues who was a very good homeopath. I lost him to the pandemic. We used to have a lot of women coming with the problem of PCOD. Polycystic ovarian disorder, and we used to treat them homeopathically and all that. And then I, frank interaction with a lot of my family and all, a lot of young girls in the family and all that. I have been asking them about this. I interviewed some of my friends in the psychology group and all that. About a couple of weeks ago, I had a mother-daughter visit me on a Sunday morning. Uncle, I want to talk to you. I said, yeah, tell me what the reason. The mother comes and says, my daughter did not have a period for the last 6 months. This girl was having a problem even 2 years earlier. And I had told her to stop eating chicken and stop using synthetic sanitary pads. But I don't know, I think still there is something wrong. And I recommended that she take over to practice yoga sincerely without fail and probably go for alternative therapy, mostly medical. She wanted to undergo a homeopathic treatment. Allopathy would put her into a lot of, it would be an on and on and an on process. PCOD has become a very common phenomenon. Again, I was attending a program, a children's program in my alma mater and school as a guest, and the principal was sitting next to me, and he showed me a girl who was about maybe 9-10 years, not what you talked to me about. And I said, Mr. Kumar, do you look at this girl? She's in 4th standard. I said, yes, whether she's all right. Looks a little heavily built. I mean, some communities, girls have a rather robust personality. He again repeated, she's just in 4th standard. So I said, so what? He said, don't you think the girl looks a little overgrown? I said, she does. And then he said, oh, it must be because of this fast food, junk food that these children eat. Then there were about 100 boys and girls on the stage who were doing a dance performance. Then I told the principal one thing. I said, brother, you do one thing. You look at the boys and you look at the girls. Why are the girls fat and the boys are not? All of them eat junk food. All of them eat pizzas and burgers as much as the other one does. Why only the girls are putting on weight?
So was it evident that the boys...
The endocrine disruptors.
Okay.
The girl is maturing fast. The girl is putting on weight fast. Obesity is an international. I mean, I was surprised. Our girls are not fat at all. You go to the United States, they're a challenge to the garment industry. I don't know whether the normal human balance is sufficient to weigh them. They're so fat. Because, their food is, of course, it's a combination of food.
Yeah.
And the total food is packaged, isn't it? Now you have these farmers' sales, you have something like you have santas here, village markets. You get these farmers' sales where they sell you organic vegetables and fruits and things of that kind. Otherwise, all the animals are farm bred and they're treated chemically before they're brought to the sale. So everywhere there is chemical contamination. I mean, a friend of mine, I was telling him, yaar, ladkiyan bahut moti ho ja rahe. Then my friend said, you were birding somewhere. अरे हो अजीत कुमार दा आप बुरे से बात सही है. मैं कोई कॉलेज के सामने खड़ा था, मेरी गाड़ी पार्क थी. मैं से लड़की तो गर्ल्स कॉलेज. He said लड़कियां बड़ी वो आ रही थी. बोले more than 50% of girls were fat.
Is it also because because of the sedentary lifestyle, not much outdoor activity these days as compared to
I don't deny that. I don't deny that. It is a combination of
the fast food,
sedentary lifestyle, the chemicals that they are going into their system, not only in their food, in their cosmetics, in their clothes they wear, everywhere. For instance, your lipstick, your finger polish, very expensive. Now there are studios only for fingernail painting, right?
Nail art.
And I jokingly tell girls that, look, if you wear a lipstick which is dangerous, you're putting 2 lives to risk.
Sir, we'd like to know more about there are many initiatives that you're doing. Like I mentioned in the intro, you do rainwater harvesting, not just rainwater harvesting. I think you collect all the terrace water, and then of course you're promoting these biodegradable sanitary pads, and then there is this organic hand wash powder to liquid that you can mix it, and of course you have given us a very cute glass also here. This is very interesting. So you give all of this. I mean, I'm sure you don't manufacture all of this, but you promote this with a cause.
Yes. Your rainwater harvesting, rainwater harvesting and composting. Composting I did all my life. You see, I mean, as I said, we had a lot of open land. So we hardly bought any compost from the market. I used to do my gardening myself. So what we used to do is to collect all the leaves which fall from the trees and all. And though the simple process was, you made a big pit and you put all this in and cover it with a layer of soil. And maybe in a couple of months or time or so, a few months time, the whole thing would compost, and that compost we used to use for our garden.
And how do we do that in the urban setup? Let's say I'm living in a flat.
That is what I did 50 years ago. I mean, 50, 60 years ago, when I was a kid. But when I came, this composting I started maybe about 10 years ago, or maybe less or more. What I started doing was I first bought a composter which is sold by company in Delhi Dump in Bangalore. That lady passed away unfortunately recently. I picked up a composter from Delhi Dump maybe about 10 years ago. 3 pots. The top 2 pots have a base with a rope mesh, and so you fill up your vegetable waste, including dry waste, and you just allow one gets filled up. You put it to the top, and like that it goes on. The third one is the receptacle, which has a solid base. So, and then, they also supply you with a composter, which contains a few enzymes, which accelerate the process of composting. And this is how I started on my rooftop. And I found that it was pretty successful. In about a month or so, I was able to get sufficient manure. Then this broke and all, and then I bought a few plastic drums. And now I not only compost the garbage from my the vegetable waste from my roof garden and my kitchen, but I also collect it from my neighbors. Again, coming to the topic of educating the educated, my neighbors are very reluctant to segregate their vegetable waste and give it to me.
So you're composting not only your kitchen waste but also your neighbors.
Yeah, and my neighbor, many times when I go shopping, when I go to buy vegetables, any leafy vegetable garbage they throw, I pick that up also and carry it home. Okay, you must see my garden.
Surely, sir, we'll see.
Then what happened? Now I compost about. I hardly buy any compost from the market. And in about a couple of months' time, you get the compost ready. I've stopped buying the composter from Daily Dump. What I do is I simply some compost which is already done, a complete composted, I add to the new compost. Then the process it becomes self-sustaining. Yeah.
It's like a curd, right? So
that's it.
You take a little bit.
And occasionally, even the curd container, I clean that container and put that inside. And if you have nothing else, for beginners, my suggestion is add a little curd, allow it to rest for a couple of days, becomes too sour, and then pour it in your compost, it composts. See, composting is a natural process.
Right.
Any organism that dies starts decomposing the moment life is off. I mean, any living thing, the moment a leaf falls from the tree, it starts decaying. Any living thing, including a human being. So you don't really have to do anything. By what you're doing in composting is you're accelerating the process.
Right.
That's all. I mean, what farmers do. They collect their waste and dump it in a corner and compost. And of course, incidentally, cow dung is a very good composter itself, acceleration wise. So a combination helps.
And what about the rainwater harvesting that you do?
Yeah, sometimes had a shortage of water in my house, where the ancestral house we lived in. When did I start and how? I'm trying to recall. There also, I think my family had an infant. With the old pipes, drainage pipe, my mother used to do it. I believe somebody was telling my sister, my fourth sister, we're a family of 7. My fourth sister, those days, families, she came from a very big family. So we used to have huge carpets spread over large halls for any ceremony and all that. So what she would do is, in the monsoon, she would take the help of her servants and put these carpets below, the drainage pipes, rainfall pipes. And they would get washed and then dry in the sun. So these were all, ethnically conditioned situation. Rainwater harvesting is known in Rajasthan for donkey's years, for probably thousands of years. Yeah, I mean, if as a student of geography, I read about human geography, if you see the design of roofs, if you go to South India, you will see roofs which are sloping. Because, coastal South India, the roofs are sloping. Why? Because the rainfall is heavy. So it should drain off faster.
Right.
Isn't it? Goa, you have only tiles. I've seen churches in Goa, 40 feet, 50 feet halls, purely with tile and not a drop of water leaks. Hundreds of old year churches. You go to Rajasthan, you have got roofs which are, flat and with a single outlet. They used to collect this water. You won't find sloping roofs in Rajasthan. That was ethnic science. Everything that man did had a scientific logic, which has now become ritual or tradition. Everything had a scientific logic. Whether you put a bindi here or all these. So they used to collect rainwater.
Yeah. I also noticed that you are making your own cleaner domestic
Yes.
cleaner with.
So that's how rainwater is starting. And now I have a fully scientific rainwater harvesting. You know what I do? I bought some sinter tanks, 2,000 liter, 500,000 liter, depending on the size of the roof. And in about 2,000 square, about less than 1,000 square feet, I collect about 5,000 liters of rainwater.
So you collect it and reuse it.
Yes, my garden is fully dependent on rainwater for nearly 8 months in a year, including the month of May. Though we still have to depend on a lot of people in Bangalore. They don't have water connections. On the outskirts of Bangalore, they don't have water connection. They totally survive on rainwater. Let me give you a very as a geologist. Let me tell you, I think it's a joke at the way we are planning things. What are you doing? Ultimately, all the water you're consuming is rainwater. Right. But what are you doing? You allow the water to fall on the ground and flood your cities, blocking traffic. And this water gets contaminated, all the excreta on the roadside, and it goes into a stream and goes into then, Hyderabad water drains into Musi. Musi drains into the Krishna, and you pump that Krishna water back 70, 80 kilometers and give it to the citizens.
By spending crores of rupees. You spend a lot of money to pump that water back also, right?
Thousands of crores. Now, my point is I've got a full analysis done. I have got at least analysis of about 10, 12 bore wells all around Hyderabad city. And I can tell you the problem with Hyderabad bore wells is all of them are rich in fluorine, because Hyderabad granite is rich in fluorine. So all these waters are rich in fluorine beyond human limit consumption. WHO
beyond the permissible levels.
Above those. And many bore wells which are drilled in places where you have where farms are there, which are now developed into. There you have a very high percentage of nitrite. Rainwater, the only contamination, I've got data, I'm not talking of I've got my own data which I've got it done in a government laboratory. The only contamination in rainwater is Staphylococci and Salmonella bacteria. And these come from the pigeon droppings. So if you stop pigeons from coming onto your rooftop, you don't have salmonella. And if you don't have salmonella and Staphylococci bacteria, these are dangerous. They can cause a lot of gastrointestinal problems. So that makes your water unpotable. In the sense, you can't use it for consumption, but it is good enough for all other purposes. Very simple technique of how you can make it consumable. 20 ml of liquid chlorine, what you normally add in swimming pool. 20 ml of liquid chlorine for, I think, 1,000 liters of water or something. I can give you the proportion I have got in my computer. Your water is potable. Or better still, boil it. And you can start 100 times better than your mineral water. 100 times.
But like you said, better than cancer, right? If you have some infection, you can cure it in 2-3 days.
I told you, give me 24 hours, I'll cure you with homeopathy in 24 hours. And at the end of the day, I'll offer you picture for the dinner. See, because bacteria is not that difficult to. And most of human systems are fairly immune to local bacteria.
Right.
So, not that dangerous.
Yeah, we might recover faster.
And again, let me tell you, the government supplies are extremely dependable. There's a wrong notion about people. I think this is a Western, mind, the perspective that has been ingrained into us. Our government systems are very efficient. The water supply that comes to your taps is very, very safe. Tell me, you're all aware of things. How many gastrointestinal cases have you heard or read in the last 10 years? This is a disease which has to be reported. These are called vectorial diseases. These have to be, all hospitals have to report this disease to a central government, data center. Did we have cases? We had stray cases in one particular locality because of contamination. But when did you hear of large-scale spread of gastrointestinal diseases or cholera, which are waterborne? Very few. Now, this is the season. You pick up the newspaper, you will not see a single report. They test thousands of water samples every week in a government laboratory. They have their own testing laboratories, the water supply bodies. And the water is very, very safe. I mean, till about a couple of decades ago, come on, what do our servants, our driver, watchmen and all these labor do? They simply go to a tap and pick up water and start drinking it. How many of them fall sick? Very often we fall sick. Thanks to Swiggy and Zomato, we fall sick, right? I hope I'm not digressing, but probably we fall sick not because of the water, but because of Swiggy and Zomato, because we have eaten so much of spice.
So much of processed food. And this biodegradable sanitary pads that you're promoting, have you seen any benefits that you have seen with whoever you have been recommending? Have they witnessed any?
Yeah. I simply have lost track of when I started this. But I've done a detailed study on this. I have a video on this in my YouTube channel, Burakit. I'm not able to recall when I realized that sanitary pads are totally synthetic. Maybe I read some literature. We talked about, PCOD and things of that kind. Then I went deeper and deeper and deeper into it. I studied a lot of articles, as I said, from Science Digest. And then, I went to the extent of, getting wrappers from the United States of sanitary pads, because there, they mention the composition or the materials used. We don't. Our Indian pads, though the same companies manufacture in India, the same corporations, but our pads do not have any reference. But the American wrappers which I got they had the description of the material. A single synthetic sanitary pad has 4 layers of plastic. Not one. I'll describe it to you. I can bring a adult diaper and show you what these layers are. The innermost layer is a very perforated net-like layer, which is plastic, because that absorbs whether it's a diaper or a sanitary pad, that is the layer which takes in because of the perforation, the flow enters the layer, and then you have a distribution layer. Now, if you have a pad which is this side, and if all the liquid comes at one point, then the pad will become soaked very quickly. So they have a distribution there, which distributes the liquid uniformly over the pad, isn't it? Then you have the absorbent layer. And this absorbent layer, if you really tear open a pad, which I did, okay, you tear open a pad and see the distribution layer, the absorbent layer, it looks like cotton. This is a compound, it's a plastic compound, it's a polyester compound called sap.
It's not plastic. It
is plastic.
It's not cotton.
It is not organic. Yes. Earlier they used to use cellulose, which is a bamboo-based product. Okay. But cellulose had its own disadvantage because of bleaching and all that. It's called SAP. SAP stands for super absorbent polymer. Now, this is the third layer, right? Then you have a 4th layer. The 4th layer is nothing but polyester, your shirt, because the 4th layer has to ensure that the liquid doesn't come out and soil the undergarment. This is the structure of your diaper also. With a child's diaper or an adult diaper, it is more or less the same structure. A layer may be missing here or there. I've torn open these things. I've studied them in books. Again, let me tell you, one of the most leading workers in this field are Indians, maybe settled abroad. They're doing pioneer work. So you refer to any good book on these subjects, you will find their references. One gentleman, his name is rather difficult to pronounce. I think it's called Kannan Kulakantan. You can guess from which part of the country he is. He's somewhere in Texas. He's considered the final authority. He says you consume 0.2 or 0.02 milligrams of microplastic every day, every human being. From your curtains, from your furniture, from your clothing.
How do we avoid this? Is there a way to improvise this situation?
You have to walk backward.
Not alone, right? We have to walk together, right?
Yes, you have to walk back. It's very simple. Now, I tell you what happened. How did plastic come about? Plastic came about as a substitute for paper. I mean, plastic bags and all that. It came about as a substitute for paper. The second is what is plastic? All plastics. And for that matter, a good amount of number of cosmetics. The basic source is petroleum. All plastic, the basic source is petroleum. Now, what happened was, metal became expensive. Paper, again, we thought was environmentally unfriendly and not a very convenient, material to handle, particularly in bulk. Probably expensive also, and very, difficult, can't be reused very often. So they shifted to plastic because they found it cheaper, they found it easy to handle, and over a period of time, they developed bulk material. Now, there are so many alternatives, particularly, the Western world, where they don't grow, they don't have many natural fibers, the temperate climates. But India is full of natural fiber. There's no limit. The bounty that the tropical climate country has given it to you. And incidentally, India has all the climates in the world, from the alpine to the, desert, isn't it? Yeah. You have the highest rainfall and the least rainfall. And we have got the coastal climate to the Himalayas, the coldest places in the world. And everywhere you get natural resources which are of great use to mankind. Natural resources which are very good for your health and the environment. I read an article somewhere, Tamil Nadu College in Guindy, an engineering college project, they are trying to make sanitary pads of some kind of a cactus-like material. And then, let me give you the resources. Cotton is one of them. These pads which I am now, this is marketed by a lady, I believe she's a Telugu actress called Rohini Naidu. She's a social entrepreneur. She's also doing it. This pad is rather inexpensive. A packet of 5 just costs 50 rupees. Of course, I'm not in business at all. Right. She sends me a small packet, and most of it I gift it to people. Sometimes I sell it also.
So this is not just environmentally friendly. This is also healthy.
I have talked to girls who have used it. My own members of my own family, my own grandchildren, and all that. It's far more comfortable than a plastic pad. Don't you think a cotton shirt is more comfortable than a polyester shirt? That's the same logic. I've given it to maidservants and children in the family, friends who might know. Their experiences, it's far more comfortable to wear and as safe to handle. See, one concern that girls have is when they're, particularly working women to travel and all that, their concern is they can't change very frequently.
Right.
So they want something rather safe.
Right.
No complaint. People are very happy. They're particularly happy because you see, not only this, there are plastic causes, there are 2-3 things that sanitary pad causes, and this is very much in line with what we are discussing. One is, of course, PCOD. I mean, the gynec disorder. The two other things. Many girls complain of a rash, skin rash, because of the roughness of the plastic. Because plastic it's not a natural fabric. It doesn't absorb the sweat and all. So very often girls get rash. Many girls complain of allergies. And there is another very dangerous disease which is affecting 24 million girls in India, an equal number in the United States. I can give you the reference if you want. One of those, again, those books I was referring to. This is a disease where what happens is the cells of the uterus, which are removed every month, these cells of the uterus start growing outside the uterus. And the disease is painful, incurable, and the girl becomes infertile, non-reversible. That means there's no cure for it, and a very painful disease. The lady who was one of the scientists who discovered IVF suffered from this disease. Okay, there's a film on this. Okay, it is that widespread. Imagine a situation where the girl comes to know that she's suffering from that disease and she has no chance of bearing a child. PCOD, the factor is 50-50 or even less than 50-50. That is, in spite of PCOD, with minimal fertility treatment, girls can conceive. I have cases in my family. And now, this is not the case. I don't have samples now. They are making sanitary pads with bamboo pulp. It's an imported technology, but the company Sati Pads in India.
Okay.
They're the second world, I think, on the first top 4 organic pad manufacturers. Sati is number 2 or so, leading manufacturer, Gujarat based. They are making out of bamboo and banana pulp. And recently I saw a LinkedIn article by an environmentalist from Sanjeevni Sharma from Kanpur. They're using not only banana but even papaya plant fiber. Now tell me, what are your resources? Similarly, you're talking of plastic. Not only you have to go for glass. Imagine the amount of sugarcane bagasse you have. Billions of tons of bagasse, which is very difficult to dispose of. It's an excellent raw material. I'll show you a cup.
Huh? No, absolutely no plastic.
No plastic.
Oh. Why don't people make more containers like this? People should make...
See, the point is, that is where we come in. One is awareness. And they're all startups, So scaling up is not that easy. They are doing it on a very big scale. Now, I mean, say for the sanitary pads, synthetic, basically economics. Awareness plus economics. I wouldn't just say economics alone, because even, very affluent girls still use synthetic sanitary pads. Right. The other craze nowadays is gone in, girls are going in for what is called menstrual cups. I made a video on that also. There are certain medical issues, and that itself, that also is a plastic, but they say it is safe, and they use what is so-called as menstrual cup is made of...
Is it silicone?
Silicone. It was earlier used for breast transplant.
Correct.
As a breast transplant, but later on it was discontinued because of certain health issues. Menstrual cups, the problem is in the Indian conditions, I don't know why environmentalists, particularly women environmentalists, are popularizing menstrual cup. I advised a couple of them, please don't do it, particularly in the rural areas. The very big issue about menstrual cups is the kind of hygiene that you have to follow. I've done a detailed study on that. The first thing you have to do is every time you clean, using the cup itself is a little uncomfortable unless you have a decent clean toilet. Secondly, how do you clean it? Every time you have to discard it, you have to use it with a non-deodorant soap, not any other soap, because this is another one. Sanitary pad used to earlier come with deodorant. And deodorant was a very big allergen. Of course, now fortunately, all companies have stopped making sanitary pads with the deodorant. They have discontinued that. It's a recent change that has come. So you have to use a menstrual cup using a non-deodorant soap. So every time you have to carry that non-deodorant soap if you're traveling, right? And clean with that. And once your job is done, your cycle is over, you have to clean those cups with lukewarm water, non-deodorant soap, and store it in a, aerated container, which is provided to you by the suppliers, normal bags and all that. So this is something that should be used with caution. I mean, one lady whom I interviewed for one of my videos, she told me, a good friend of mine, she told me, Ajit sir, we use menstrual cups when we are at home and in town, but when we travel, we again shift to sanitary pads. They are more convenient to use in long distance travel and all that, because of matter of convenience. You see, there are so many options. The earth, the fauna and that you have, all these things that are now, you're all the time talking about the burning of this rice, what is so-called paral, rice crop. They burn sugarcane crop and rice crop. They sort of burn the whole thing after the harvesting. In this process, they are doing two things. One is they are releasing a lot of carbon dioxide to the atmosphere. By burning something, the soil gets caked. All the biota in the soil gets damaged. The the small little insect, the worms, etc., who really give the life to the soil, they're all killed. This could become an excellent resource. Of course, now I think Government of India is funding a lot of companies to make ethanol out of it. But this, I'm sure, can be used. Now, a lot of companies have come in.
Yeah, a lot of startups are coming.
A lot of startups have come up in making cups out of bagasse. Your Vistara kudu, your standard leaf, your banana leaf.
Right.
That's what I said. You have to go back. I still would love to have a meal in a banana leaf.
I'm sure everybody would love to.
Yeah. So now it's going back. You go to a restaurant, many restaurants are giving you a banana leaf in your steel plate, going for stainless steel and brass and things of that kind. Porcelain. We are a country which is so richly endowed, and fortunately, we have not followed the consumeristic lifestyle of the Western world, which now we are doing, unfortunately. So our resources are fairly intact, and some of our resources are renewable and abundant, like your sugarcane bagasse, like bamboo. Now bamboo is replacing your plywood, and I think China is the leading producer. Now India is yet to pick up. That's another excellent resource. I mean, you as a builder would probably be interested. You can make furniture out of bamboo. I'm not talking of just bamboo, but you can convert bamboo into, sheets like plywood.
They do sell in the market. You find the sort of plywood sheets made from the bamboo as well.
Actually, plywood is also is a wood, isn't it?
Yeah.
Bound with the resin, synthetic resin. Then it's basically that. So, did you get that word? Endometriosis. Dementia. It's a dangerous, 2 crore girls suffer with that. The cells which should be confined to the uterus are now found even in the intestine. This is all because of endocrine disruptors. That's why I keep telling all the people, people argue with me. Unfortunately, I come from a family where everybody is highly educated. Okay, so it's very, नहीं कैसा बहुत मजबूरी है, बच्ची को सैनिटाइज वो कैसा होगा डायपर के बगैर and all that.
But this is even worse, right? I mean, if by using that plastic or synthetic diapers and someone getting this disease is even worse than the inconvenience.
That is what I tell them. That's what I tell them. You see, people come with a shocked so I could say the last word on my this one. Debate with many of the co-environmentalists I have it. All the time you're talking of the environment. What is your objective? You're talking of the environment because if you spoil the environment, you spoil the health of the people. And you spoil the health of all the living organisms on the surface of the earth. So you want to protect the health of the people. Now that is tomorrow. But today itself, the health of the people is suffering. Why don't you? And secondly, if I talk of 2030 or 2040 and say, at that time the environment will be, the global warming will be there. He said, today I'm comfortable in my AC. But the fact that you are compromising the health of your own little family, today you're more susceptible to cancer, you're more susceptible to infertility, you're more susceptible to an undeveloped child being born in your house. So I don't know why they're not emphasizing. Some of the environmentalists who are campaigning, they're doctors. They are on various social media, LinkedIn and all that. I sent them a message, look, you're a doctor. Talk of endocrine disruptors. Talk about forever chemicals. Because that will be in here and now. That is, I'm going to fall sick today. Throw your mineral water bottle. And my experience is, it is much easier to convince the rural audience. It's much easier to convince the uneducated. It's difficult to convince the educated. The slogan, educating the educated, the commissioner of the municipal corporation gave it to me.
Where is it?
One day I was walking in Indira Park. That was the Holi celebration. And people had celebrated Holi, the Workers Association, and they dumped a lot of garbage there. So my son posted this video to the commissioner of the municipal corporation. That came the reply. I know we are trying, but it's difficult to educate the educated. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I think you gave us a lot of thoughts today, and you have left us a lot of questions also for me and for all of us to ponder and think what we have to do on sustainability. Like you said, it's not about tomorrow, right? It's also about today. So I really thank you on behalf of my our channel's viewers. I really thank you for your time. Thank you very much.
My pleasure. It was an experience of its kind.
Thank you.